Hi, my name is Kyle Miller. I'm a student at Georgia Tech's online Masters of Science in Computer Science program. This is my final presentation for OMS6460 Educational Technology, abatools.org. So as part of this class, I identified a problem that there is a lack of educational software that is tailored for autistic students, but also provides the sophisticated data export needs of an ABA-focused treatment. ABA is applied behavior analysis. It's a leading form of therapy and treatment for students with autism spectrum disorder. And it relies on data to make decisions about how the treatment is progressing, what needs to be worked on, what could be considered mastered, and so on. A friend of mine is a clinician at the Peer Center for Autism in Sioux City, and he kind of helped me define some needs in this area, and this is what we came up with. So I want to describe what the tool is. It's called receptive identification, and it helps work on receptive language of students. I'm going to click on this here real quick.
Touch the square.
So this is what a receptive identification looks like. You heard the prompt. It's indicating that the student should touch or click on the square. The square is a target. There are two other images here that are distractors, a triangle and a circle. And the object is to work on a child's response to the prompt, to hearing touch the square, touching the square. So it's both identifying the square and responding to an auditory prompt. So I'm going to go ahead and log in and kind of show you a little bit more about what we built. The first thing that you see when you log into this tool is a list of users in a group, and you'll see over here on the side there's a couple different roles. There's leaders or students. Leaders are teachers or parents or therapists or counselors or trainers, any sort of leadership type role, and students are the ones that we're configuring these receptive identification sessions for. I'm going to go ahead and create a new student and kind of show you what we do here. So not much is needed to create a student, just an email address or any sort of identifier to log in and a name. I'm going to call this Kyle Demo. And it shows up here in the list. And once we have that student, we can go ahead and configure a new receptive ID session for them. On the left side of the screen here, there is a media library which shows the images that are available for targets or distractors. And on the right side of the screen is a wizard that will kind of lead you step by step through the process of creating this session. So we're going to go ahead and create one that's targeting a square. I'm going to drag and drop that square over here and click next. We'll want to pick the audio prompt. In this case, this prompt says something like touch the square, like you heard earlier. And then the distractors. It can be any number of images, but we'll just do two of them here, a triangle and a circle. And those are the other images that show up that are not being targeted. For a reward, we'll pick this happy dancing Mario guy. And then this screen here is some more fine detailed configuration about what a session will look like, how many rounds or trials there are, how long the reward will appear on the screen once the student is correct, how long before a hint is showed. A couple kinds of hints. There's positive hints, things that will enhance or highlight the target. There are negative hints, things that will diminish or fade the distractors. And then here at the bottom, how long should we wait before moving on to the next round and marking it as no response from the user? And these are all in seconds here. Three more options at the bottom. Whether or not we should show the reward if the student is initially incorrect, but then picks the correct answer. And then this option for randomized or masked trials. In a randomized trial, the target could appear in the left, the middle, or the right randomly. But an even number of times throughout the session. Whereas a mass trial, the target would appear, say, in the left 4 times in a row, and then in the center 4 times in a row, and then in the right 4 times in a row. And then just a quick summary of what we have configured here, and we'll go ahead and click Finish. So we have a session configured for this user, and let me show you just a couple more things here before we run through it. This manage media option, this is kind of a rudimentary digital asset management. This is where you could upload more images to use as targets or distractors, more audio prompts, more rewards, and all that is done through this new asset modal here. And then sessions here on the left. This is where you have a list of all the users in your group. And if you click on one, you can see how many sessions, if any, are configured for them. This is really just the configuration we just went through with a couple of additional fields. You can see how many times a student has attempted this session, and then if you have more than one session for the student, they'll show up with different priorities that you can configure to display which one is actually given to the student the next time they log in. One more thing before we run through it. If you have a student who's already completed some sessions, you can select them here and view their progress, and that'll bring up this chart. This chart shows, for this particular student, this targeting a square, the student has completed 5 sessions. The green line represents the percent of time that they were correct for each trial. The red line, percent of trials, I should say. The red line is the percent of trials that were incorrect, and then the blue line is the percent of trials in each session where there was no response. And as these are all grouped by an individual configured session, the more times a student completes a session, the more data points that will be added to this chart. So with that, let's go ahead and run through what a configured session will look like for the student. I'm going to go ahead and log out, and then we'll just log right back in as that student. So this first splash that kind of shows up here is just a quick summary to kind of confirm that we were logged in as the student named Kyle Demo. We're going to do 12 trials and target as a square. This is really more to help the individual who is assisting the student log in, or kind of getting things set up, making sure we're in the right place with the right person. Touch the square. So there you heard the prompt. Now, if we do nothing, we'll wait until that positive hint is displayed. And in this case, there it is. There's the highlight. It's highlighting the target right there. If we do nothing a little bit longer, we should see there's the negative hint. The other two are faded. And if we do nothing, we'll go ahead and it will move on to the next trial or the next round in the session. So there it is again. Now, if we select incorrectly, touch the square, it immediately shows the hints and reprompts. You heard that audio, touch the square. And if we touch the square, we can see the reward. There's that Mario guy, Happy Mario. Touch the square. There's the next round, and again, we touch it correctly, it shows the reward right away, and then it can move on to the next round. Touch the square. At any time, we can click this touch the square, green square, and it will reprompt the audio. I don't know how useful this will be, but I thought it would be nice to have if say you have a really long configured time before the next trial, and maybe somebody forgets what they're looking for, but it's just nice to know really what we're looking for in that round. And then also you'll probably notice along the top this progress bar increases as we move through, just to kind of give an idea of how we're progressing through this individual session. So that's really about it. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this presentation, and I'd encourage you to read my paper for more information. And if you do have any questions, right on the homepage of abatools.org is this link for questions or feedback. Go ahead and click that link and it'll send me an email. I'd love to chat more about this project if you have any interest. So thank you very much, and please reach out if you have any questions.